One of the I don't like these books about leadership that are we kind of sit back and look at this cult celebrity figure, and they're off in the stratosphere, and we are kind of down here below, and they have nothing to do with us. So instead, what's of interest to me is to try to look at people and say, okay, well, what lessons learned are there to take away? This is how the Pope lives and works, and what might I learn about how I can live my life? So I structured the book in such a way that I tried to take away commitments that anybody could make to improve their own leadership capacity, whether that's at home, whether that's in a company, or other words might be habits we might get into that would make us better leaders, convictions we might have about the world. And I spoke about 6 of them. And just let me give one kind of example. One pair of habits or convictions, commitments have to do with how a leader interacts with the world. And basically, I tried to make the point that on the one hand, people have to be really, really in the world, but on the other hand, people can't be of the world. And let me explain what that means. So when I say you have to be really in the world, people who are leading well, they're really in touch. We get people now who are in an ivory tower, or else they're processing the world through ideology, or through numbers. They just don't have any real contact with the joys, the sufferings, the challenges, the problems that are part of everyday life for most people. And you can't lead when you're disconnected like that. And one of the things that you see even in the Pope right now is that he's constantly trying to break out of this bubble that you get in when you're a famous person or when you're a Pope. He doesn't want that. He kind of wants to connect. And one of the things you absolutely see in his life history is kind of wanting to be in the mix, meet people where they live, understand their real experience. So that's one quality of leadership. The ability or the conviction, the commitment to be in touch. But at the same time, you kind of drown if you spend your whole life floating along on this river of email, meeting, experience, text, and so on. And so the other thing a leader has to do is step back. And I recommend to people that they ought to take at least 5 minutes a couple times a day and just reflect on where they are, what's gone on, what are they grateful for, what have they learned from the last few hours. And I know, because this is a Jesuit practice, I know the Pope does this, and it strikes me it's a very useful tool, certainly for people in a religious or spiritual tradition, but for people in any walk of life. So there's something rather paradoxical about what I said. On the one hand, leaders have to really plunge in and immerse themselves in the world, but at the same time, leaders have to every day be able to step back and take stock of what's going on in their life and the world. So those are examples of 2 of the commitments I talk about in the book.